everyone. This is Fred with another session of Fred Speaks, and I hope everyone is doing well after a long work day, uh, making preparation for extended uh, long weekend. Uh, but I just wanted to get on and talk about a very interesting subject today. Uh, but before we get into our subject, as I mentioned, I was going to try to have a topic or, I'm sorry, a quote, a phrase, or a Bible verse. So today, um, the particular quote that I wanted to uh, mention and share with you is concerning gossip. And it reads, great people talk about ideas. Average people talk about themselves. Small people talk about others. So I was running this particular quote by someone today, and they they basically were like, "But what if you're just having a discussion?" And my response to them was, the difference between um, gossip and a discussion. But anyway, when it comes to gossip, gossip it affects everybody. First of all, it affects the person that is doing the gossiping, and then it affects the person that they're taking it to, and then of course it affects the person that they're talking about. So everybody's affected, and then those that others that hear it. And the thing about it is that when it comes to you being the one that is always gossiping and telling others, telling someone about other people, that person or individuals that you take this stuff to, they're probably talking about you as well. So it's like a endless cycle. And so I just wanted to encourage everyone to, at all possible, to avoid gossip, because it not only affects the person that you're talking about, but it affects you as well as the person that you're taking it to. So just wanted to talk on that briefly. Again, try to avoid gossip as much as possible. Uh, so we're gonna get into our subject tonight. Tonight I wanted to talk about deal with your issues now. And many of us, or all of us, have gone through different things, and in our going through, we accumulated issues and wounds, and different things that have become a part of us, and they're no good for us, but we hold on to them, and it's almost like a protective mechanism. Like, when you think about it, whatever the issue is, it's kind of your guard. Your guard is up. Like, okay, I remember how that felt. I remember it like it was yesterday. That this happened to me, and I use that to kind of push people back. And a lot of times, what the issues will do, they cause you to push people away, hurt people, to do all kinds of things that you wouldn't normally do if you were yourself. But because of these issues that you're holding on to, you can't even treat people right. You can't even, you don't even, do the right thing by yourself. You're basically hindering yourself from moving forward because of issues. And so that's why I wanted to talk about that tonight, is deal with your issues now. And it's a process, because when you think about the issues that you have accumulated, you accumulated those over time. So relationships, family situations, all kinds of things, job situations, it's so many things that we can accumulate issues from. And the reason why I wanted to talk about dealing with them now is because if you don't deal with them now, they're going to deal with you later. And what I mean by that is as you move forward or try to move forward, because it's hard to move forward when you got a bunch of issues. But if you're able to get into another relationship, a new job, or a new church, or whatever, wherever you had an issue or accumulated an issue, and you start to move forward, guess what? You're going to take those issues with you, and they're going to be like right before you. Whenever something comes up, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I remember. I remember this same thing happened to me over at such and such place, or this person did me this way or that way." And so we have to deal with these things now because we don't want them to affect us as we, develop new relationships, and start to encounter new people and stuff. We don't want this to be in the way. And there's people that have issues, 15, 20 years of, where they got into it with somebody and they're still holding the person, but you're really not holding the person. What you're doing is you're holding yourself. You have yourself captive because of the issue, and you can't move forward. You can't be happy. You can't be at peace because you got issues. And and I believe it's just like a bird that is about to take a flight, and you may see this bird just pulling off the different feathers and different things that are dead. They're no more useful to him, and he wants to be as light as possible so he can take flight. And that's what us as human beings, we need to get rid of the issues so we can be light, that we might go higher in our lives. We may be able to accomplish more in our lives, but we can't do it when we have all this dead weight issues, situations, conditions, that are like hindering us from being all we can be. And I don't believe that you can be a whole person in a relationship if you got a bunch of issues, because you can't give your all because the issues are there. They hinder you. They always, when you feel like, oh yeah, I'm ready to be this, with someone or whatever, those issues are there, and they push you back because you start to think about, oh, I can't do that because I remember in a previous relationship this happened to me and I can't do it. And I'm going to share this with you. I remember some years ago, there was a young lady who I liked and I was interested in and everything. And, I was talking to her on the phone and stuff, and we went out a few times or whatever. And I remember one night, she came, back to my place or whatever, and we were being, intimate or whatever. And all of a sudden she just started crying. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Why is she crying? And I'm not doing anything. We're just kissing. So why is she crying? And so at that moment, I'm like, wow, what did I do? What did I do? And so I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of like letting her, get all the emotion out, let her cry and everything. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, what is wrong? I want to know what is wrong. And so she eventually starts to talk, and she was like, my stepdad raped me. And I'm like blown. I'm like, wow. And I knew her stepdad. I knew him, and we actually played basketball together and everything. So I saw him often, even before I knew her. And so it's like, wow. And I bring that up is because this was something that happened to her much when she was much younger, but she was still hindered by it into the future. And because it was never addressed, it was never dealt with. And then, my thing was, I'm like, okay, my first response to her was, does your mom know? And she began to tell me that I tried to tell my mom, but my mom didn't believe me. And that floored me even more because I'm like, wow, your daughter's coming to you, and trying to tell you. And I know you hear about these situations where the child is trying to manipulate the relationship and stuff like that. But this person, I genuinely believed her that that was not the case. But she fast forward into her adult life was still hindered by it because it was never dealt with. And so I just want to hopefully reach somebody out there that is listening in tonight or will be listening to this later, is that you want as much as you can, you want to seek the help that you need, whether it's a pastor, a counselor, therapist, whatever it takes, that you can get the help that you can deal with your issues. Because trust me, they're not going to go away on their own. You got to face them and deal with them. Acknowledge that something happened to me or something went wrong in my relationship or whatever the situation is. It went wrong, and I'm still impacted by it. I haven't moved on from it. I haven't grown from it. I'm still in the same boat, and it's affecting all aspects of my life. And I want to be, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, I want to be free, that as I'm going forward in life, that there's not something that is handicapping me, that I can't be the whole person that I need to be. And if you got a husband or a wife or kids or whatever, you don't want to have all these issues, and these issues are keeping you from loving your family, the way they deserve to be loved, and then also loving yourself, and these issues cause you where you feel like you're not worthy, you're not, nothing is good, should happen to you. And this is all because of issues. And so I just want to encourage everyone that's out there, is that, as soon as you can, I know sometimes you can't do things like right there at that moment, but when you have the opportunity, start to address the issues, and acknowledge that, hey, if you were in a bad relationship, you got hurt. I mean, I got hurt, acknowledge I got hurt, and, but you want to be able to forgive that person, that you can move on. They say it's not for them, it's for you, or it's for me. It's a lot of times people are like, man, I'm not doing it, man. They hurt me. I want to hold them out. I want them to suffer and all this kind of stuff. And these people are moving on with their life. They're going on and doing other things, and you're still in the same boat. Like, I wish they would die, and that you need to forgive them. You need to forgive them. What if it's a coworker or something you got into it with, or whatever, and they stuck you pretty good. They said some things you really didn't like, and now you're looking at them crazy or whatever. But you got to do it for yourself. Deal with the issue for you, not for them, but it's for you. I was thinking about Jesus with his disciples and followers, and they asked him one time, how many times shall we forgive? And he was like 70 times 7, and it's like, okay, this extreme high number, and it's something about forgiveness that, if you can understand God, and understand Jesus, how that when he was on the cross, and they did everything to him. They beat him. they spit on him, they put a stony crown on his head, they speared him in the side, all these things. And he still was like, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that takes some getting yourself out, getting off self, and thinking about, oh, I want to forgive. I want to move on and not be hindered. And so we as human beings, we have to be able to forgive and let it go. Let it go. Because it leaves scars, scar tissue, when you have I remember my Achilles, I pulled my Achilles, and you could see the scar tissue built up under the skin, the blood and everything. You could see that and everything. And it's something you have to go through some rehab to get it right, and get that blood circulating right in that area. And that's how we have these areas in our heart that where we've been wounded or hurt or mistreated or whatever, and it's there, and we kind of hide. We feel we're hiding it from others, but it's not about others. It's about you. You, at the end of the day, it's you, and you got to deal with that. You have to be able to see that these issues are causing me to not be the person I need to be with the ones that I love, and even with people I come in contact with. Because I don't want to be mean and bitter. I don't want to be walking around just bitter and taking everything out on people, and they have not done anything, but because of my issues, that's the state that I am. I'm like on defense, and I'm ready to do something to somebody because of my issues. And so I'm telling you, this is I'm getting happy talking about the subject, because I just know for myself and many others that deal with this. They deal with the issues, and they want to be better, but these things have become to be a part of them for so long, and it's kind of like, it's just like in a house. You got that one room, and you need to clean that room. That room is in a mess, but you hate to go in there. You don't want to tackle it. You don't want to, and that's the way our issues. They're in that room, and you don't want nobody to know about that room. You keep the door closed. But trust me, everything, I mean, it affects everything, because the house is not clean. Even if you got one room that is a mess like that, the house is not clean until you tackle that. You tackle that one room, the house is not clean. And that's the way when it comes to issues, they accumulate in the heart. And people can't see your heart. But trust me, when you open your mouth and your actions and everything, all of that stuff starts to come out, because it is an issue that is deep in you. And like I say, most of the time it's from hurt, disappointment, and different things. Some way, something somebody has done to you, But again, I got to be whole. I got to be whole. I can't be limited. If I'm going to have a meaningful relationship, I'm going to have good interaction with my coworkers and different things, I got to be whole. I can't be this handicapped person because of issues. And that's what issues does. They handicap you. You can't be all you can be because of issues. Issues are a heavy weight that you don't need. I don't need it. And in the opportunity to get rid of it is as soon as possible, as soon as you can, because the more you let it stay, it's the harder it is to get rid of it. The harder it is to get rid of, but it is not impossible. If you really want to get rid of the issues, you can. You can start today. The first thing is to acknowledge that you got an issue, that you've accumulated issues. You got to first acknowledge that. And if you notice sometimes that just out of the blue, and you're not even focused on it, but sometimes you'll think about something that happened to you. You'll think about it. It happened to you, and you're like, oh, why am I thinking that? Dang, why am I? That's been years ago. Why am I even thinking about that? And it's because you never dealt with it. You never faced it. You never acknowledged it. That yes, it happened to me. It happened to me. It could have happened to anybody, but it happened to me. But I can't let this thing stay there. I got to address it. I got to deal with it. I got to, and then once I deal with it, then I can be free. Because it's like having handcuffs on you. You wanna have free movement, but you can't because you got the handcuffs on. And the people in your life that care about you, love you, they deserve all of you. They deserve your best. You deserve your best. And you can't be good for anybody if you got full of issues. You can't do it. So you need to deal with these things, face these things, acknowledge that they exist. They are there. And most of the time you think about them almost daily. They come to your mind because they're in you. They're part of you. And I just want to encourage everyone out there that let's deal with our issues. Let's deal with them. That we can be good for ourselves, those that love us, whether it's in our home, on our jobs, at our church, in our neighborhood. We need to be able to be a whole person that we can be a benefit to those that are in our lives. And I was thinking about something that happened to me. An individual was upset with me, and they were just going on and on and on and on. And a part of me wanted to say some things to really cut and get to them. But I did not do that. And I was glad I didn't do that because the person was very fragile and it could have been something that could have really set them off. And so I couldn't have done that had I still been holding on to a bunch of other stuff. Sometimes when those types of things come your way, you're like, oh yeah, you got the right one today. And you're ready for that. That's because you know what I'm saying? But if you're free from those things, I'm not saying just letting people run over you, but you can deal with those types of situations better. But when you are bitter and you got so many issues, that's just an opportunity. You're like, man, I've been waiting on this. But I don't want to be waiting on that kind of stuff. I'm not even looking for that kind of stuff. If it does come my way, I want to be able to deal with it, but not go over the top. I want to be free enough and have enough self-control that I can deal with those situations. But issues, trust me, it's good for your health that you can get rid of them. These things impact you in so many different ways. And just think about if you got kids and you're this bitter person, always screaming and hollering and all this kind of stuff, and that's all they hear. They don't hear, oh, I love you, or, come here and give me a hug, or, it's always yelling and fussing and everything because issues. But once you can get rid of the issues, you can be more loving and caring and understanding, because now you're free. You're free. You're a whole person. I can be me. I can be the person that can be a benefit to the ones that are around me. And so I hope that everyone that is either listening or will be listening to this podcast, I hope this is a help to you, because we all, at some point in our life, have an issue. And we end up, sometimes where we accumulate these issues and we never deal with them. And sometimes we'll say, well, they're the one with the problem, and but yet you're the one that is kind of stagnant. But you keep saying they're the one with the problem. And I think about Jesus and that he was telling his followers that if you know that there's an all or someone has an all against you, and he basically said, leave your gift and go and reconcile, go and make it right, go and and sometimes some situations are so heated you can't go immediately, but you pray and you ask God to give you the right opportunity to go to that person, and that he will go before you, and that when you go to this person that you can talk to them, and work through the issue, because trust me, these issues, they are not going to go away on their own. And sometimes you'll be like, oh, no, I'm good, and something has happened and you're like, I'm good, just lying, because you're not good, but you're saying that because you're trying to be hard and everything. But all the time while you're saying I'm good, these things are building up in your heart, building up in your mind, and you're not dealing with them, and so they're there. And some time later, you wonder why whenever that person comes around, it's something like makes your blood boil, and it's like it could be something that happened a year, 2 years ago, whatever. But every time they come around, it's some type of feeling you get. That's not good. That's not good. You want to be free. And again, I can't emphasize it enough that it's not about them. It's not about them. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I'm so hard and everything, I'm going to hold them out. I'm punishing them. You're not punishing them. You're punishing yourself. You're hurting yourself. And that's the thing we don't want to do. We want to be whole in our interactions and dealing with one another. And the only way to do that, we got to deal with our issues. We got to get rid of all these things that are hindering us and causing us to be stagnant. And if you know anything about water, water has to flow. It has to flow. Otherwise, when it becomes to be stagnant, it's no good. It's no good. But it flows. As it flows, it purifies itself. And you want a heart that it is flowing with love, and there's no blockage. There's nothing in the way, issues and different things. Because issues, they cause a blockage where things can't flow freely. And I want the love of God to be able to flow freely in me. Am I going to not have issues and different situations come up with others? I'm not saying that. That's going to happen. But if I'm a whole person, I can deal with these things appropriately. But when you got issues, that's what you're going to act on, is issues. That's what's going to be the source that you're going to reach down and grab a hold of. You're going to say, I remember when this person did this, and never again. I'm never going to let this happen to me again. And you're already on defense. You're like, you're not going to do me like that. You're not going to talk to me that way or whatever. And it's because of an issue. But you want to be free, that you can let the love of God flow. And they have a saying, what would Jesus do? But if you got issues, man, Jesus is not even a thought. He's not even a thought. Showing love is not even a thought. But let us deal with our issues. Let's start with that, doing that tonight. And like I said, some things you can't go immediately. You need some time, some cooling down time where, there's an appropriate time that you can go to that person and work through the issues. But I hope this has been a help to someone, because we're living in a world now that evil is on the rampage. Evil is on the rampage. And so everybody is accumulating rage and different things, and, you know, racism and all kinds of things. These things are not good for us. They're not good for us in our interaction with one another. And so I don't want to get into deep on that, but I just wanted to encourage you tonight, if you're suffering or dealing with some issue or issues, you know, start to first acknowledge that you have an issue that is a part of you, and that's the first thing, is to acknowledge it, and then two, you know, start to pray and meditate and ask God to help you. If it's something with someone else, that He will, you know, guide you and give you the appropriate time that you and that person can work through the issue. But if it's something with you, that, you know, it's something that you got to deal with on a personal level, just you, you know, ask God. If you see where it's something that, you know, you kind of been avoiding it, ask God to give you the strength that you can face it and deal with it, you know, because something could have happened to you as a child, you know, and but yet it's still causing issues in your life as an adult, you know, and, you know, probably the person may not be around that, you know, caused you the issue or whatever. But God, you can consult God and ask God, and also reach out to a counselor, or, you know, someone that can help you and be there for you to direct you and listen to you and provide guidance, you know. So let us do the things that, you know, we can be healthy and whole individuals for our loved ones and those that we interact with. Again, our subject tonight was deal with your issues now. And I hope that everyone got something out of it. And we look forward to the next episode of Fred Speaks. Have a good night.